Hello everyone. Phoenix61 here. So I picked up Arc Raiders this past weekend after watching some content creators that are much bigger and cooler than me play the game, and I kind of got interested in it, right? So we're going to run into some trouble here early on, but yes, this is going to be my beginner's guide for the game that I feel like a lot of folks are, like everybody out there's got a beginner's guide, right? But my kind of point here is like, I just like they're giving you the tips and tricks and all that other stuff, but I feel like we need to take it a step back here and just like what's gonna be valuable to do in the game when you first get the game, right? So, and that's kind of what I want to talk about, right? I've been able to progress fairly quickly here with this game just by going through this method that I'm going to show you. Now, this is called, Arc Raiders is called an extraction shooter. There's a handful of them out there, right? I'm sure there's a lot, right? But whatever. But basically what it means is when you're done with your mission or whatever you set out to do, you need to get to an extraction point, and this happens to look like this one, right? The first maps that you unlock have like these elevators like this that you need to get to. So we'll talk a little bit about those and strategy and how to do them. But that's what this game is called, is technically an extraction shooter. I kind of like to, it's kind of a looter shooter too, right? But anyway, so what I want to talk about is just when you first get the game, you can make your life easy and less stressful by using the free loadout system, and it's also going to help teach you, right? So I've got all this junk here from my last raid out in the wild, and so I'm going to dump it into my inventory, my stash, which is, you can't lose that. That's just all your stuff. And then what I'm actually going to do is sell the items that I got from my free loadout. You get a shield, you get a weapon, and then you even get this, this is going to be called your augment, right? Which is basically kind of how you can equip your loadout. It's kind of like your backpack setup, right? So like how much stuff you can carry, how much quick use slots you have, how much weight you can have, right? So now we've got a nice clean slate, right? And I've got a few guns that I collected or found or whatever, or game reward, like mission reward, whatever, that I'm keeping over there in my stash for the time being. For a while we kind of go through this, but my loadout, everything is pure empty, right? That's the point here. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go into Dam Battlegrounds, is going to be your sort of starter area. And instead of doing custom loadout, you see up the top, I tabbed over to free loadout, and it's going to look blank when you start up here like this. It's a little confusing, right? But what you do is you tabbed and you select that free loadout, and then you launch matchmaking. So now we're waiting for matchmaking. We'll skip that part. But basically what it does is it gives you, right? Gives you some ammo, a shield, a weapon, and some quick use items, which are going to be like a shield recharger and like typically a shield recharger and bandages, and then maybe one or two other things, maybe a grenade. I think we got a grenade over here, right? So bandages obviously heal you. The shield recharger, obviously you use that to recharge your shield. Your shields don't automatically recharge in this game like they do in a lot of other games, right? So you got to use that consumable to recharge it. Now, the second thing I'm going to do when I come in is I'm going to look at the map, and I'm going to see these are extraction points, these ones with the timers on them, right? So Central Swamp Lift, Water Treatment Elevator, and you see the timers on them. Those are very important, right? Each map has a starting time of 30 minutes. These hatches, you need a special key to use, right? So those are quick and easy ways to get out of the map and escape. But you need a key for those. But what I do typically is I look for kind of a somewhat nearby extraction elevator or point, and kind of click on that. You can set a waypoint. That's what I did. And then I'm just going to go around and get into stuff, right? Most of the time when you spawn, you're not going to be too close to other players, and they don't typically put you too close to enemies right away either, right? So you have a little bit of free time to just right around where you spawn to look through and just collect junk, basically, right? Just grab anything and everything, even if you don't know what it is or what it does or what it means or whatever, right? Obviously there's your typical like loot system, right? Like gray, green, blue, purple, right? Like for rarity, right? So If you run into a situation like I'm about to here, right, where you just can't hold any more things, right, you could try and prioritize that. But basically the reason we're doing this is we want to just get in, grab a bunch of stuff, and get out. And a lot of that stuff is we're going to use it to, I'll show you where it is, but basically there's crafting benches that you need to you need some of these raw materials that you can get from either just straight up finding them or recycling some of these little higher level items that we're finding in here too, to get those raw materials to then create and construct those newer crafting benches, and that'll unlock and progress your sort of your playthrough. But everything you do here is getting you XP, right? And so this is progressing your character. Everything you look in and pry open is giving you experience. So I'm getting experience I got a whole bunch just from looking in those lockers, right? So step one, like this is very, very early in the game. And also I do this sometimes when I like have a bad run and get killed and I'm like frustrated. So I'll go and do this just to like collect some materials because I lost some stuff, right? But yeah, so and I'm actually over encumbered, right? I grabbed too much stuff. There is a weight limit to each augment, right? And I'm just going to take my time, right? I can see an enemy drone up there, right? I can see an arc up there. So I'm just going to wait for him to pass before I get too close to this next extraction point to try and get all of this stuff out, right? And so that's the thing, right? That's the big thing with these extraction shooters, right? If you die from either, NPC, right? If you die from enemies, you're screwed. You lose everything that you have on you. With the exception of there is some of the better, it doesn't work for the free loadouts, but if you're not using a free loadout, you do get a safe pocket that you could put something important in, right? But yeah, if you die, you lose everything, basically. It's kind of the concept of the extraction shooter. So where to trip this elevator, you have to call it, and then it makes tons of noise, which is going to alert any nearby players and any nearby arc enemies as well. So I like to find a non-obvious hiding spot is my recommendation. Like you could see out in front of me, there's kind of like a wall out there on the other side, right? That would be a typical hiding spot to just go and hide and wait while the elevator becomes available. I recommend finding something like just like a little bit not obvious. All right, that way if there's a player like looking to try and ambush you as you try to get in, they might not find you, right? So, and then once the doors open, you got to run in, and it takes a few seconds to push buttons on this computer, and then you're free and clear once the walls come back up, right? So all the maps, some of them have these elevators, some of them have like subways, right? There's different stuff in all the maps, but those are going to be the first ones that you sort of experience, right? But easy peasy, right? I think just like in and out, right? I didn't deal with any enemies on that run, nothing. So, and then I came back with all this stuff. Here's all the XP that I'm earning, and it's helping me level up, right? So that's kind of like my just like process for early game when you first get started out. Obviously you like if you want to go and start running and gunning, like right away, right, play the game how you want, right? But I'm going to do the same thing here, right? I'm going to empty my backpack. I'm going to sell all of this free loadout stuff, because what you want to do is also early in the game is expand your stash. You're only going to, can't remember what it started at, like 50 slots in the stash, and you can see I have it up to 232 now. Right, so you go up to that expand button, and it costs some of that currency that you're getting from selling all of that stuff to expand it. So we'll talk about the workshop here. So this is what I was saying. We want to work on progressing stuff up in here when you're first starting out. So you do get Scrappy the Rooster. He's going to give you raw materials. I think that he just has some available after every run, I guess. But you also can level him up. So if you go to the train button, there's some items that you need to find out in the world. I think the first level is like a dog collar, right? Which you'll find it, right? If you're doing what I'm doing here, what I'm showing you, you're going to find one fairly quickly, right? So don't sweat it there. But what you want to do is unlock all of these these different workbenches, right? So gunsmith, right? So you first start out with this workbench like this that literally lets you craft the things that you get from the free loadout, with the exception of this augment, which is this is the looting one, right? So that's why I'm like, why would I use materials to craft this stuff when I get them by using the free loadout, right? So, but obviously as you get progressed and start having lots of more materials, right, you're going to build your own loadouts and not use that free loadout as much, right? So, but yeah, so there's we're at the weaponsmith, the weapon table, right? You can craft weapons, obviously, right? The other thing you want to do is once you get these unlocked, right? Once you it requires like rubber parts and plastic parts and metal parts or something, right? So it's very basic materials that you get from what we just did, and then you can create those workbenches, and then you want to go and then what you want to work on after that is we're on the level up tab, right? Where you can level up each different sort of workstation and to be able to craft more and better things, right? So that's kind of what I'm at, the stage that I'm at now. I'm going out there trying to find more specific items to be able to upgrade each workbench now that I've unlocked them all, right? So I'm going through my inventory here and selling some stuff to try and make some of the credits so that I can expand my inventory even further. And then also you can recycle items in here as well. So if you're finding a lot of stuff that you're not sure what it's for yet, or you need to free up some inventory space, right? Sell and or recycle. When you recycle, it's going to break them down into so rubber parts, plastic parts. I think those are some of the things that you needed to build the workbenches, the workstations at first, right? I believe the way it works is kind of as you recycle things down into their sort of, raw material components or whatever, those slots can hold more of that item versus the more rare items take up, you can't hold as many slots, right? But ultimately here, right, this is the other thing you want to work towards is expanding your stash. You can see it's a lot of coins for me right now, but that's because I think the first upgrade for it is like 5,000, and then it gets exponentially more expensive with each upgrade. But the 5,000, I think it was like a couple of guns I sold from free loadouts, right? And like right. So it only took like one or two runs to just be able to start upgrading my stash. So those are kind of the two big things that I was started working through early on in the game, right? Just go run through, just loot a bunch of stuff and try and get out quickly, right? That's going to be your easy way to just sort of get some of those things going. Obviously, if you want to hunt down players, hunt down some enemies, you do what you want, right? But this was working for quite well for me to get through quickly. You do have skill trees as well. My recommendation would be this this movement one, right? I would start here, and especially these two, Youthful Lungs and Marathon Runner. I would put points into those. I would focus on those first. The conditioning skill tree, obviously you do you and look through these things, but this other one here, the survival one, fairly early on you can get access to this in-round crafting option. So that's something that I want to work towards as well, right? So then you could potentially collect things and then craft things while you're out in the field or above ground or whatever you want to call it, topside, right? So that could be helpful in a lot of different situations as well. But I would focus on this mobility skill tree first and at least get these two options here maxed out: Marathon Runner and Useful Lungs. They make a big difference for being able to sprint, run, and just move faster and quicker, which is valuable across the board, right? And then you have these traders, right? So you can buy stuff from them. So always keep that in mind. If you're struggling to find something specific, you could always go and check them out and see if you can buy it. All right, I know I need some synthesized fuel for something that I'm trying to build or craft or whatever. So I could have just bought it from here, right? So keep that in mind. And then these guys also are going to give you missions as well, which are nice because they're going to give you experience and stuff. So we're turning in a mission here, and then they're also going to give you items as well for completing those missions for them. So they're somewhat self-explanatory. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find a specific location that it's asking you to go to and do something. So I run into that, but eventually you get it, right? Like I don't stress too much about the quests, right? But I am trying, I'm picking them up when they become available. And then if I see the opportunity to complete them, I'm obviously, doing that, right? So I was able to turn in a quest here during this video, and then there were several new quests that popped up here. So I was going and grabbing those, right? So this hatch repairs one's going to give me a hatch key that would allow me to use one of those raider hatches, right? So pretty nice, fun concept, right? So it's, I guess, I don't know if you have to do these, right? But I mean, obviously it just kind of makes sense to pick them up because they're going to give you rewards if you manage to complete them, right? So just something to keep in mind. So yeah, the traders, like, they're all going to sell different items, and then they're all going to have, as you progress through, are going to have quests for you to do. Another side note: if you come across cars that have their lights on like that, highly recommend avoiding them, because if you, I don't know if you bump into them or go up to them or try and loot on them, right? They set off an alarm, which is gonna attract arc robots and and raiders alike. So something to keep in mind, right? So we're doing one more run here, right? I'm gonna do another one where we actually run into an arc enemy that we have to kind of go and deal with before we're able to escape. We do come across a couple other players here. There, some players are. I was finding, right, early in the game on this, on Dan Battlegrounds map, if you're solo queuing, right, if you're going in by yourself, it'll let you group up with up to 3 people, right, in this game. But if you're going in by yourself, I actually needed to loot one of these things for a mission. But if you're going in by yourself, it seems to put you with other people that are also going in by themselves, right? So it's nice. I run into other games where you can go and solo play and run into groups of people, and it's just dumb and unfair, right? So this is nice. It does seem to highly prioritize making sure you're with the same size, matchmaking you with the same size groups, right? So that's really nice as well. But again, yeah, I'm doing the same thing here. I'm just kind of working towards getting some XP to level up my character. The nice thing about using these free loadouts is it's going to give you, one of the random starting guns, right? There's a handful of guns that are kind of intro weapons. And so it does help give you an idea of like what you may or may not like as well. So it kind of gives you that, lets you try the different things out, right? And then that way, once you kind of get set on something that you do like, then that could be the ones that you start like crafting on your own and upgrading and adding mods to and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice, right? Running the free loadouts kind of gives you a little bit of, lets you explore a little bit of what the different weapons and items and stuff can be. And then you can kind of figure out what you like to use the most, right? So, all right, so we're going to find our extraction point for this one. I'm going to do that. Right, so 9 minutes left on that one. So you can see the timer at the top as well, right? We've got 20 minutes left on this map, but the extraction elevator that I selected was gonna be done in 9 minutes. So it's just always something you got to keep in mind. If you're gonna be on the map longer, you're gonna have less options for getting out. And then yeah, we can hear a drone by us, so I'm gonna have to deal with this guy. I was trying to hide from him, but I'm pretty sure based on the noises he's making, he has found me, right? So they always have lights on them, and if it's a blue light, it means they're just kind of actively, searching and randomly, and you can usually just hide and wait for them to go by. If their light turns yellow, it's going to mean that they noticed you somehow, and they're trying to actually like find you, and then obviously it's going to go red to when they're in like attack mode against you, right? So with these flying drones, the best way to take these things out is shoot their thrusters or their propellers, right? Knock those out. Some of them, another like a tougher variant has armored propellers in the front, so you got to the best thing to do is try and shoot the back ones. But those are fairly easy to take out once you kind of learn to deal with a few of them. But yeah, you definitely want to utilize cover a ton in this game. As we kind of did with the tree there, right? Because if you're just out in the open running and gunning, it's not going to work that great. But yeah, so we lost our shield, so we're using the shield recharge consumable that the free loadout gave us, and then I used a bandage to heal my health a little bit as well. So yeah, that's what's nice about these free loadouts is, if you go in and somebody kills you, joke's on them. All your guns and stuff was free loadout stuff. Like they're gonna be disappointed, and then if you do die, right, you don't feel like oh no, I lost a bunch of stuff, right? So that's just kind of what I had been doing. Either one, when I lose some things that I spent a little bit of time and materials on, I'll go do a free loadout here and there just to kind of get myself back on track. But yeah, we can see here somebody has already tripped this elevator, so we know there's another raider nearby. And like I said, I think there's 2 in here. We can see, there's nobody in here, right? There's one right there to my left, right? Most of the time, it's other people just trying to do the same thing you're doing, which is get out. But yeah, you're definitely gonna run into someone that's gonna try and take you out and take your stuff in those situations, right? But but yeah, that's gonna be my video for the day, guys. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful, or drop some other suggestions for folks that may or may not be new to the game, right? I don't know how much I'll be putting videos out on this. I know most of my most of my followers are following me for World of Warships Legends, but I do plan on playing this game for a little bit, so if there's anything out there that you're interested in, right, we could do some more videos on it. We did live stream it this past weekend as well, so you could go and check that out. Played it live for a little while. Had a little bit of fun as well, but yeah. Otherwise, I do post Legends videos every day, but, even if you're not a fan of that game, right, please consider subscribing. I jump into other games here and there as well. I'm kind of a small channel, so a new follower here and there is appreciated. I notice you, and thank you, right? Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks again.